All my life, I've been fascinated by language. Not just words and sentences and phrases, but communication that surpasses verbal speech too. You don't have to speak the words I love you for someone to know, and sometimes silence can be the greatest message of all. A smile, a nod, the furrow of someone's brow, the way their index finger presses into their thumb when they're nervous. All of these can tell you how someone feels without a single utterance. My sister Caitlin taught me all of this.
Are you sure?
Really?
Yay!
She contracted a viral encephalitis when she was just shy of 2, and she stopped walking, talking, and even eating on her own. All of the progress that she made in her first 2 years of life, she lost, and then she regressed from there. It was like watching the hands of a clock start to tick backwards. None of it made sense. Caitlin started having hundreds of seizures a day. She became tube-fed. She went to the bathroom through an ileostomy bag or catheter. She breathed through a trach. 13 years my sister dealt with this very involved form of epilepsy, and 13 years she didn't say a word. It was from her that I learned that humans waste words. My name's Allison Steines, and I'm 21 years old and a student at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I have decided to take a vow of silence for the next 7 days in memory of my sister Caitlin. She passed away July 14th, 2015, and my family was all there by her bedside, and I figured that 1 week of silence would be the least that I could do just to kind of figure out what it was like to not be able to speak for 13 years. Yeah, good boy. Come on.
All right, so you begin tomorrow. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really nervous. Got the pre-jitters, but like a good nervous. I think that I've kind of had this idea for quite some time, so I'm ready for it. I'm feeling prepared.
What do you think will be the hardest part of this whole process?
Being alone with myself and my own thoughts. I have like a tendency to have so many thoughts and so many loud thoughts going on in my mind throughout the day, and not being able to like express those or share those with people, I think will definitely breed some anxiety. So I'm a little bit scared about that, but I think it'll also be really like introspective and rewarding, because I think sometimes we don't sit quietly with our thoughts for long enough, and so we don't really get to get in tune with ourselves and check in and see how we're doing. So in that way, I think that's what I'm most scared of, but it's also what I'm most excited about. Yeah.
How long do you think into this process do you think it'll start to get really tiring?
I think day one's just gonna be a shit show, if I'm being honest. So I went to Office Depot yesterday and laminated some note cards to help me kind of communicate more effectively throughout the week. And I just have 4 of them. One says, I've taken a week-long vow of silence in memory of my sister Caitlin. Another says, this has been as awkward for me as it has been for you. Thanks for trying it with me. Tell me a story. And then I did just leave one blank, so that way if I do need to communicate anything, I'm gonna try to write as little as possible, but for the most part, this is just like a verbal vow of silence. So if I do need to write or send a quick text or email, then I am gonna do that, because I'm gonna try to be still engaging in school and everyday life.
Thanks for remembering. I see that. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have an idea?
Today was an adjustment day, a day of internal pep talks and reminding myself not to open my mouth. Of course, I slipped up and I spoke a few times. Sang a few song lyrics while listening to music in the morning, muttered some accidental swear words. Just like anything else, silence is something that you have to learn. And as funny as it may sound, I had to teach myself not to talk. Interactions definitely take some getting used to. Everyone responds differently to my silence.
And I thought the last paragraph was really honest by him. Any questions about this or thoughts?
Questions are the most difficult to navigate around, and figuring out how to communicate without words feels foreign and funny. The fact that I can say nothing puts all of the pressure on other people to fill in the gaps. I don't have to wait for my turn to speak. I just absorb and listen. I'm reminded not to take anything for granted, not even the sound of my own voice. And I'm learning to love the sound of my own laugh. I woke up today, eyes immediately wide, heart racing, unable to calm down. The heaviness hit me like a wave and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't shrug it off like I sometimes try to do.
She's just over 2 years old, and she's had a rough time. She's still having about 20 to 30 seizures a day. They've kind of adapted to these head bobbing and the myoclonic seizures, but she's having myoclonic, absence, and atonic seizures. And it's just not a fun time for anybody right now.
My thoughts didn't function in sentences today. They played out more pictorially, and I couldn't seem to see anything other than you, Caitlin. I remember how you used to say my name. I can hear it inside of my head like an echo. Allison! We would all laugh and laugh, waiting until you figured out how to pronounce the letter L a little more gracefully. Only you never did. I remember the screaming when you first got sick. The hundreds of seizures a day. Mom and Dad tried to shelter us from it, but we could hear how much pain you were in. I blocked out that sound for so long, but today I can't seem to hear anything else.
Just a few seconds to 20, 30 minutes. I wanted to get these recorded so we can kind of get this tape around, show some different doctors, and hopefully someone can help us.
Sometimes I wish the past didn't hurt so much, that it weren't so painful and my life was just this big bad dream that I could wake up from.
It's just like she can't get comfortable and she'll just do this for hours on end.
But then I remember the way you lit up when I walked into your room. You would look at me, your eyes sparkling. I told you stories about who I was and what was going on in my life. I read you books. You seemed to silently say that I was doing all right. And without words, you made me feel like the most loved human being in the entire world.
Hey, sweetie, how are you? Good to see you.
It's tiring going up there.
Sorry.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Brett.
You like that?
Hi. I missed you.
We got Indiana at 4:32.
You want cheese and crackers?
That's one of our favorite pictures.
Yeah, it is. She would storm the neighborhood. Our three neighbors, she would just take out of the house and head down over to our neighbor's house. I was furious. I was like, what are you doing putting a helmet on a baby? I'm like, but I need a picture first. But don't ever do that to her
Rip
again.
that thing off.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing was bigger than she was. They were so proud.
We could run it.
So do you find yourself picking up on other cues from people since you don't communicate verbally? Or are you picking up on other things? Or not?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I needed.
Like body language, and maybe you notice more, or
Well, I notice she uses her facial expressions more, and like she's more pronounced
Yeah.
when she's trying to tell you something.
and you're more in tune to it.
Right.
Like we had to
And
become
like right
more
now
in tune to Caitlin.
we're talking about her as
I
if
know.
she's not here.
And that's probably what we did with Caitlin too. You just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Listening more, everything seems louder, and I feel like a bobblehead.
Just turning. Just agreeing with
Yeah.
everything.
Especially you can at least find ways to communicate and write and stuff, and like mime, but like she wasn't even able to do that. She would hum and she would kind
But
of.
humming was her. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget at the hospital. I went down. I had to go grab some dinner, and I asked the nurse to watch her, and she was. When I came back up, she was singing to me. She was happy. She was humming the whole time.
Oh. Yeah.
And it
she
broke
wasn't
my heart.
happy.
I'm like, humming's not a good thing. That was right
That
before
was
she
right,
passed
yeah.
away.
That was the day before.
You know, she would look at you and just kind of give you that look to say, it's going to be okay, I'm okay. Without words, Even, when she passed away and we all told her, it's okay, we got each other, it's okay if you go, we're all going to be okay. And that's pretty much when she passed away. It was like she was waiting for us to say, it's okay. And you need to go and not be in pain anymore, and
I'll never forget that last breath, though.
Yeah.
I tell you, that one tore me up. Yeah.
that was when she's still healthy. Those eyes.
I love it.
I think it was really hard for you being in the middle of it all. You're my girl. You were such a good big sister.
I had a dream last night where I was talking, and I immediately slapped my hand over my mouth so fast, almost as if I was scolding myself. Today I felt a lot calmer. I didn't have to try not to speak. It just felt comfortable, and I felt like I was finally sinking into silence.
You're gonna change it as time goes on? I mean, that's pretty good, right? Come on. How much time left in this? Oh, maybe 7?
No problem.
I just have a. So the date I changed was Thursday.
Is that taxing? Has it made you a better speller? What's the perks then? Aw.
Sorry, media ethics is in what? Do you want to appoint the department? Okay, thank you.
I thought this would be the hardest thing I ever did.
So you'll have this for 2 hours?
I thought that I would be on the verge of a mental breakdown daily, but instead it's been the opposite. Not that it's been easy or a walk in the park, but it's been beyond bearable. I feel more relaxed than I have in a while. I'm still trying to find meaning in everything that's happened in my life and to my family. I think I always will be. And I'm still trying to rework pain into joy, because that is where the memories of my sister belong.
Okay, you finished your week. How are you feeling?
Feels weird to be back to the world of words. I don't know. As weird as I felt about starting the week, like starting the vow of silence, I feel almost equally as weird coming back to being able to speak. It just feels strange. Like, okay, here's my voice. I haven't heard you in a while. Yeah, and I think like one of the weirdest things I found is that like sometimes I'm like an anxious person, and I think like I almost feel like less alone when I'm by myself, which is a really weird conundrum. But then without words, I actually felt like less misunderstood. And that's a really weird thing, because you think like you can't talk, nobody's gonna be able to understand you. But it was almost the opposite.
And if you could describe the whole experience in one word, how would you describe it?
Loud.